Please take a seat.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we are retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better read than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die in his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shouters around the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material complications. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn their spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Awesome, thank you. Well, that just brings us up to our main speaker tonight. A personal friend of mine. We'll draw the raffle at the end. Anyone got their tickets? I want to introduce Gary O'Neill. He has a book out, American Warrior. They're going to be making a film of his life soon. I think if you also think of who your biggest hero is in life, then times about 100. You might get close. He's done an awful lot. I could talk for about probably an hour on all the things he's done. But I'm going to let him get on with that. His Chief Warrant Officer, Gary O'Neill, and I want to bring him up here tonight for you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't like this stuff.
I'll be back here even.
Okay? Maybe I won't fall through here. Okay? I'm going to start off, I'm not a soldier, I'm a warrior. My family, my fifth great grandfather signed, and fourth great grandfather, fourth great granduncle, signed oath of allegiance to an American fought in the Revolutionary War in the War of 1812. He was also in the Frontier Rangers in the 1750s, we call Rogers Rangers. I've had a relation that fought in every war that this country's been in down to me. And I refuse to let my sons, we had a nephew wrote a kid in our apartment on sleep. I slip once in a while. But, so I wouldn't let my sons go. Okay, but the main thing of it is, we're Americans. This is the greatest country in the world, and we are the greatest fighters in the world, and I'll fight anybody that says different. I don't care who it is. Okay? When I grew up out west. You know, my dad was Irish. He goes all the way back to the 1750s, and then some more over in Ireland, in the Irish Army, the Irish Rangers, they call them. And then on my mom's side, it goes all the way back to Bows and the Trail, Battle of Little Bighorn. You know, on my mom's side, you know, everyone's a Sioux Custer. So I got warriors on both sides, on my mom's side and my dad's side. So I had a childhood that was brought up that was a little bit different from what you see on the East Coast and the West Coast. Because the whites didn't like me because I was Indian, the Indians didn't like me because of the white, and I didn't like nobody. So I tried to sneak off and join the Army, but they wouldn't let me because I said I was too young. So I went out and targeted opportunity. I see my cousin, my older cousin's birth certificate on his dresser, and I snatched it up and joined the Army when I was 15. In 1965, I was in Vietnam, fighting with the 173rd. And then from 65 to 68, I was with the 173rd. August of 68, I got busted out of the Army for fraudulent enlistment because my cousin got drafted and they found out there was 2 Butch O'Neills in the Army. Yeah,
Same social security number.
yeah, same social security number, same number. They proved he was a good guy and they busted me out. And they gave me an honorable discharge. But they gave me a discharge that said the only way I could come back in the Army is a national emergency, declaration of war, or drafted. So I come home kind of whining to my grandmother, and my grandmother said, "That's an easy fix, son. Call your auntie. She's on the draft board in Utah." So January 1969, 4 January, I was back in the Army, doing boot camp again, AIT again, and jump school again. Then when I went back over to 173rd again, and the brigade sergeant major, he comes up and said, "What you doing back here, Butch?" I said, "Excuse me, I'm not Butch, I'm Gary. Butch is my twin cousin." Yeah, so I spent a lot of time in the military. I've served pretty much everywhere from Vietnam to pretty much every conflict that we've been in since 65 to 2007. I finally retired at the age of 62. And I lost a lot of friends. Got a lot of them that's up there in Arlington. And went up there Memorial Day one year, I think it was 2009, 2010. And they hand out little flowers, a couple flowers, right? So I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." I said, "I need that box. I got a lot of friends here." So we had a good time, you know. We got a lot of them up there. Guys that served this country and served it well, and they gave their all. And I do a lot of stuff with foundations. I served with 12 Medal of Honor recipients. I've served with some of the greatest warriors that this country's ever produced. And guys like Bob Howard, Colonel Howard, some of you might have heard of him. You know, he was up for 3 Congressional Medal of Honors. He's the highest decorated soldier in the history of this country. And he's the one that told me on his deathbed that I need to get my story out and start teaching and training again. And I thought I was retired. Now here I am. Wrote a book. Now I'm out there and still teaching. Biggest thing I'm doing right now, when we talk about the Constitution, I go around to high schools and I teach Constitution and teach patriotism. I don't even have to mention patriotism You just teach it. Okay? It's called leadership. Our biggest problem in America today, we have no leaders.
Amen.
They have fired or got rid of or forced some of the best leaders that we had because they refused to sign the oath to the president to fire on American citizens. Okay? I'm not politically correct.
Good.
I'm American. I do not sugarcoat nothing. And if I slip some words out, ladies, I apologize ahead of time. Okay? But we got some assholes up there. You know, bad people. They're trying to destroy this country.
That's right.
And the problem we're having nowadays is the biggest problem America has is our education system. It is the worst in the world. It's nothing more, I don't even call it public schools.
Indoctrination.
Okay? It's government indoctrination.
That's right.
Okay? They're not teaching the Constitution, they're not teaching prayer, they're not teaching the basic foundations of this country. And our forefathers has fought and died for and gave their wealth up for it. So we could have the freedoms. And I think the biggest thing we had that started everything is when they started the seatbelt law. Then they went to cigarettes. You know? So I think that was their downfall, was seatbelts. You know? But the main thing is we've got to get the knowledge out to the people. We've got to get the knowledge out to young people. People in the middle schools. In North Carolina, when I was up there, that's where I'm staying at right now. You know, that's where my rucksack's at. And I joined up with some MBA guys, you know, and we go around to middle schools, troubled kids and stuff, and we go around to them, mentor them and stuff, you know, and show them. And we've all had bad pasts, you know. I mean, if everybody was goody-goody two-shoes, we'd be out there on the cross, you know, if we was perfect. We're all human, we all make mistakes. And the main thing it is, we got to teach our young kids is consequences before the actions. We got to teach them how look at the consequences before they do the action, and if the consequences outweighs the action, then I think they need to do another action, you know? So I work with that a lot. I work with kids a lot. I work with a lot of veterans. PTSD. Yeah, I've had PTSD. I got 17 years in combat. Okay? And I probably got more kills with my hands and a knife than most snipers do. Because that was my job. I did a lot of sentry move up close and personal. A lot of snatches and stuff. You know, and spent a lot of time trying to be a warrior. Okay? And we can take those skills, I try to deliver those skills to the kids and American people. Okay? To walk the path of a warrior is a lifetime commitment to self-discipline. Plain and simple. The problem we're having in America today is our children. We got kids having kids. Okay? They don't even have discipline. If they don't have discipline, how can they teach their kids discipline? Okay? We've got to work on the education. Education, education, education. Okay? Because adolescents, they get discipline. They get motivation, exterior motivation. Uncles and aunties and parents, teachers. Okay? You know, not so much teachers nowadays. Because we don't teach our kids anymore. We teach them how to take a test. That's all we teach in school is taking a test. You know, I got friends that are working in college, professors in college. Kids coming out of high school, going to junior college, can't even hardly read or write. They can't even do an English paper.
That's true.
Basically, 6th grade literature, and they can't do it. Okay? So we got to get where we can bring them up. As long as they have discipline, and when they go from adolescence to manhood or womanhood, they don't have discipline. They have self-discipline and self-motivation. We got young men nowadays that I see in the military that have no discipline, and they can't even tie their shoes. And we got to train them. And these are the kids that's going into the combat. Okay? What I'm working on the most, and I've got doctors, I've got congressmen, I've got all kinds of people we're looking at, is we have 26 to 20